Hey, sports fans. Hope you like the new intro. We updated the name finally on there. We're trying to take all those pennies we have in the marketing budget and development budget and up our game just a little bit. Good morning, everyone. What an exciting first week of football. And we're going to jump into that here in just a minute. But hey, Dave, how's it going, man? How's your
Good,
week?
man. It's a good week. Love the new intro.
Yeah, just trying to step up the game a little bit because, not going to lie, I mailed it in on the beer this week. And, each week we go out and we select something, I don't know, unique, good, something you should get out and try. This week I mailed it in, just didn't get out and to get a beer. So today I've rather than have a creative beer, it's just going to be a creative beer segment. And it's called What's in Chuck's Fridge? And this week, it was just Sam Adams, and which I haven't had for a long time. And so last weekend, I picked up a 12-pack of Sam Adams. And I'll tell you what, it's kind of one of those things when you are maybe buying some more unique stuff each week, just to kind of go back to some of the roots. And I've always enjoyed Sam Adams. Next month, is I'm going to be doing spotlighting a lot of kind of those Oktoberfest beers and stuff like that. So I may do their Oktoberfest seasonal, but yeah. So that's what's in Chuck's fridge, and there's some Corona. But you know what? This is the good thing about this is that this is probably in a lot of people's fridge, and it's it's easy drink. It's only 5%, and so you can enjoy those during the game, and yeah. So thank you, Sam Adams, and it'll probably go along with one of my picks. So what you got on tap today?
I got a beer from Southern Grist Brewing Company in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's an Imperial Hazy, a Barocco nut.
What?
So I have a coconut on some rollerblades here with its hat on sideways. Southern Grist, it's an 8%, so pretty heavy hitter. And this can, because it is the rivalry game in my house this week, I went a little high-end Seahawks 49ers. My wife's a big Seahawks fan. She's getting her gear on as we speak. But so I had to go with a good beer like this today for the rivalry game. And here's what it looks like poured. Nice little hazy.
Yeah.
And it is pretty dang good and pretty dang expensive. It was like $7.40 for this one can. So, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this morning to get ready for my rivalry game.
What's the alcohol percentage on it?
8%.
All right. So another good sipper, enjoyer, not a chugger. Hey, good morning, Kim. Thanks for joining the show. We all love Football Sunday here. That's why we do what we do. And so, hey, speaking of doing what we do, let's get into it. So we had to make our pick Wednesday because the Chargers and the Chiefs played Thursday night. Dave and I were both on the same page, and we picked the Chargers. Now, we may have actually picked the Chargers to also maybe thoughtfully win this game, and they very well could have. But the Chiefs won. But hey, we won because we picked the Chargers, and the Chiefs did not win by 4. So we are experts on this one game. So, yeah. Any thoughts on the game itself?
I just hope Justin Herbert's healthy moving forward for the Chargers. He did, have an injury to his ribs in the game. Other than that, it was a good game. Chargers had a really good first half, and the Chiefs had a good second half. Big pick six for the Chiefs was kind of the biggest play of the game, I thought, there. Yeah. And once that happened, it was just Chiefs held on. So it was a really good competitive game for early in the season.
Yeah, no, it was a fun game to watch. And I was, that pick six, I was in my heart thinking, oh man, that's a tough one. And he'll come back, but again, Justin, even after he was hurt, I mean, that guy was in a lot of pain. And I thought he's going to have to make some big throws, and there's just not enough clock. And then he made that throw across the middle and zipped it right in there. And, that guy's he's a beast. But so before we get into our picks for week 2, which is here starting in an hour, we just want to take a look. So right now we're all tied up after week 1. We we basically, I think, had only a couple of differences, and we picked, I think, opposite. So this week, we are going to start separating ourselves because there are 7 games on the docket that we are not going to agree with. And yes, Kim, Herbert is a fighter. So hopefully the rib cartilage stuff, they expect him to be at practice some point this week. So yeah, so hey, let's go ahead and get into it. And as we go through, we're just gonna hit our picks, talk a little analysis as we hit the game, and get you guys out of here and ready for football. So so the first game after the Chargers Chiefs is the Jets Browns, and I'll let you. This is probably I don't know not a lot of thought in this one, but do you see the Jets standing a chance here?
No, I mean, it's a pretty big spread, but for 2 not real great teams. But after the Browns won last week and they're at home, I'm going to take the Browns.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. The Browns, they showed up and did what they needed to do with Baker Mayfield, and yeah, so I think this is a pretty straightforward one for me. So I'm also taking the Browns. So Commanders and the Lions. Lions are actually favored by 1.5 over the Commanders, and I'm taking the Commanders on this one. I didn't go with the Commanders last week, but I'm taking the Commanders on this one, and obviously this is going to be an outright win. I think for the Commanders, but yeah, I think they showed more than the Lions, and even after watching Hard Knocks this year with the Lions, and their grit mentality of I still think they've got some talent issues. I think both teams do, but I think the Commanders have better talent right now.
Yeah, I have the same pick. I'm taking the Commanders. Just the Lions are still the Lions until I see they're not.
Yeah.
Until I see it happen, I can't pick them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So hey, first one here where we are going to differ. I know the Saints, rallied back last week to beat the Falcons, but the Falcons had like a 16-point lead. I think that the Bucs are still more consistent, in the fourth quarter, and have better talent. So I'm taking the Bucs on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints. I didn't really like everything I saw from the Bucs last week. The Saints are at home. I think they had a pretty good win last week, especially getting Michael Thomas back, and he had 2 touchdowns. That was a positive sign. And the Bucs always just kind of struggle with the Saints in the past few years. So since it was only a field goal and they're at home, I just kind of took the home team on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. So now down to Carolina is going to New York. I'd play the G-Men, and the G-Men pulled out a win last week, and they are favored this week. I just can't believe that, I'm going to give it one more week of going with Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. And if they can't pull it off this week, then I'm not saying I was ever on their bandwagon, but that team should be better than what they are with Christian McCaffrey and Baker. I mean, they've got talent. The Giants have just always been mediocre, and I don't think they're, on paper better than they were last year. So I'm taking the Panthers in this one.
Yeah, I took the Giants just because, they got Barkley back. He had a real nice game last week. He actually led the NFL in rushing last week with 164 yards rushing. And they're at home. So for that reason, and with the Panthers playing, I think as poorly as they did against a not very good Browns team, and the fact the Giants won and they're at home, that's just why I picked the Giants.
Oh, very good. So, all right. So who do you got here? Patriots are favored by 2 in Pittsburgh.
I took the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers are at home. They got a big win last week against a really good team that had to give them some confidence. And the Patriots, I mean, they just don't have the talent they used to, and they didn't always have talent, but they had solid veterans that were real good and knew the scheme and system. And I just don't think the young guys are up to par yet. And, I thought maybe Bill could outcoach a first-year coach in game one, but it didn't happen. So I'm going to take the Steelers.
Yeah, no, fair enough. This is I'm going against the grain here, taking the team that's a little local to my brew selection, and so I'm taking the Patriots in this game because you mentioned Bill Belichick and coaching. I just don't think that I still think he's what 70 now. I still think he's a good coach and will come out with a revised game plan. The Steelers needed, overtime, and that was close to a tie. So the Steelers didn't really show me anything. I mean, they did, they did win the game last week against, uh, a Super Bowl contender, and that says something. But the Bengals had a chance to win that game also, and should have won that game. So, I think Bill Belichick will outcoach his mediocre talent that he has there, the young talent that he has. And I think it puts a lot of pressure on Mac Jones because there's already talk about, his time is maybe over in New England. So the Colts are favored down in Jacksonville. This is a toss-up game for me. I flipped a coin and it said, "Oh, you should take the Colts." So I'm taking the Colts. Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts just because based off last week, Matt Ryan had the second most passing yards in week one with 352. His running back, Jonathan Taylor, had the second most rushing yardage with 161 yards rushing. So just a few yards behind Barkley for the most for last week. With that much offense potential, I just don't think the Jaguars can score with them or move the ball with them. So I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, I think the Jags could surprise on this one. And I kind of thought, they could keep it within. For me, I thought they could keep within a field goal. But I probably have more faith in Matt Ryan and that offense than I do the Jaguars. All right, so down we've got the Dolphins are going into Baltimore. The Ravens. I was kind of surprised the Ravens were only favored by 3.5, and this is another one. I think I see you're right and stuff, but I'm going with the Ravens on this one to win this by more than a field goal, and I just think they still should be the better team even without Marquise Brown, and I think that they can just. I don't know. This was a tough one for me. But I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, I took the Dolphins, and mainly it was because of that 3.5. I wasn't overly impressed with what the Ravens did last week with, they played a crappy team, the Jets. But I think the Dolphins really surprised me how well they played against the Patriots and the first-year coach did against Belichick. And they have talent. I mean, they have Waddle, they have, Tyreek Hill. They have some guys that can make some plays on offense, where I think they have more playmakers on offense than maybe the Ravens do, as far as, not just the quarterback position. So I'm going to take the Dolphins, not saying they're going to win, but maybe they lose by only that field goal and I get it by that half a point.
Yeah, no, you very well could have this one. I mean, this wasn't a super confident pick for me, but it also, with the Dolphins last week, it took them, into the second half to even get Waddle and the tight end, even including the game. It was kind of the Tyreek Hill show and everywhere else, right? So it took them a while. Waddle did have a touchdown catch in the second half, so they finally got him involved. So hopefully they kind of start spreading around a little bit more because I think we'll see on that one. All right, so the Falcons are traveling from ATL to Los Angeles to play the Rams. The Rams, I believe, have the largest spread of the week. And this pains me at 10.5 points. This pains me because of our boy Marcus Mariota. So who do you got here?
I do have the Rams. Just because they're at home and the way they were embarrassed in week one against Buffalo, and they're the defending Super Bowl champion, I just feel like this home game is going to be a redemption week for them against a team that we don't know if they're very good yet. So I think they're really going to come out and try to prove a point that week one was kind of a fluke and they didn't play their best game. And I think Marcus is going to have to be running around quite a bit today, getting away from Aaron Donald and some of that defense. So Rams at home, kind of a revenge week for them. How bad they played. I'm taking the Rams, even though that's a super big spread.
Yeah, this is my bonehead pick of the week. I'm taking the Falcons, and on the points. So
it's a big spread.
10.5 is, I mean, I could see 10 and easily. I mean, I could see 14 or 21, but I'm hoping it's only 10. And yeah, you're right. The Rams have to pick themselves up and come back and perform. You can't drop this game. If you're looking to get back and win a Super Bowl, this is a game that's on the schedule that's like can't lose. Absolutely cannot drop this game. But I'm just hoping the Falcons got some people on defense that, when Stafford gives his 2 picks a game, then they can convert on those. So yeah, taking the Falcons. All right, moving on down to rivalry in the Webb house. 49ers and the Seahawks. So the 49ers have a 9.5 point. I see you're wearing 49ers gear. You're a big 49ers fan. You got stuff all over the place. Who you taking in this game, Dave?
Man, for picking I can't believe the spread was that big. When I saw that, I was like, wait, they won against a decent team. We lost against a bad team, albeit we had crazy weather, but both teams had the same weather to play in. So you can't use that as an excuse. But man, 9.5, that is a lot, even though they're at home. The Seahawks played pretty dang well. But I can't go against my team really, but I think I'm gonna just because of points. Just pick that 9.5 seems huge from what I saw last week. And we still got Trey Lance in there, and who knows how he's going to do in his first home game against a rival.
Yep.
I think I just for the pick base, obviously I want to go with the Niners, but I think I have to pick the Seahawks to at least not lose by 10 points,
Yeah. Yeah, I went with the Seahawks also. I was just I had already known what your pick was on paper, so I was just building that up that you would pick.
It's just too big.
People would expect you to pick the Niners.
Spread.
Yeah, it is. It is, and Trey Lance, and again the weather, which was absolutely the best game to watch. That's the way football should be played, in the snow, in the mud, the rain. I mean, because there's a true equalizer in that, and sure you want to see some great passing and stuff like that, but that was a fun game to watch, and I loved the weather part of that. But yeah, so how does Trey Lance come out at home? And don't know what the weather's like there, but yeah, I think this is, the Seahawks kept it close and with Denver and, pulled that out, I don't know. But yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks also on this one, just either to keep it close or I think the Seahawks have a chance to win this game. We'll see. Cincinnati, who lost their overtime, almost tie game with Pittsburgh last week, is going down to meet them boys, and the Bengals are favored by 7.5 in Texas. And this wasn't I'm taking the Bengals. The Cowboys just didn't show anything last week, and you've got to actually, what, I should pick the Cowboys only because they have a backup quarterback in, and this guy may turn this team around. Somebody was talking, was it on our a comment on our thing or on Twitter or something like that? Someone was making a big deal about, look at the history when backups come in and win Super Bowls and stuff like that. And I just don't think that's going to happen with the Cowboys. So I'm taking the Bengals in that 7.5 points.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals too, and not a Cowboy fan, so I would like every moment of it if the Bengals really put it on the Cowboys at home in Jerry World. So yeah, I'm taking the Bengals also. Plus, I mean, the only thing is Burrows did throw the most interceptions of anybody last week with 4, which is basically why they had to go to overtime with the Steelers. But he also threw for 338 yards, which is the 3rd most yards in week 1. So he's going to move the ball. So yeah, and they can stack the box and try to make that quarterback beat them. So I'll take the Bengals for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think Joe Burrows will have that kind of week again. And I mean, I think you probably will see more running this week, and with them, more focused. So not to put it on him throughout the game. So all right, moving on down to the team that did not lose last week, but also did not win last week. They're in Houston, and we obviously didn't pick the Texans to win. We weren't wrong. So, but they didn't lose either. They're going to the Broncos, who, I forgot to get the graphic that I saw on Twitter. It was a wanted poster of Russell Wilson stealing $242 million. I forgot who I picked on this one. So yeah, so who do you got in this game?
I think this is going to be kind of like the revenge game, like the Rams. I think Russell's teammates, definitely Russell wanted to go in Seattle and get that game, and they didn't. And I think they feel probably like they underperformed. So Denver at home is definitely an advantage. Although, Houston did not play that bad. Davis Mills didn't play bad. He didn't play great. He did have two touchdown passes. The one thing that I saw that was kind of the biggest indicator of a little worry for Houston is 2 of their players, last name's Kruger Hill and one is Owens. They had 18 and 15 tackles between the 2 of them. They led the NFL in tackles in week 1. 1 and 2, the same guys from the same team, and it wasn't really close. That 18, there was a few guys that had 14, 13, but having 2 guys make the most tackles for week 1, that's kind of worrisome. That tells me that where's everybody else at? What's happening? So I'm going to take the Broncos as kind of a revenge game. It's Russell's first home regular season game in Denver, so it'll be played up a lot. And we know how Russell loves to be loved. So I think that love will help him get a big win today in his first home game in Denver.
Oh, so you changed your pick from last night.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and because I had you down at the Texans, so that's all good. I'm taking the Broncos in this one also. They $240 million quarterback, and you cannot lose this game, and you need to win it in style. This isn't even a game that you can walk away with a field goal win. I mean, a win is a win. Don't get me wrong, but if you want to have confidence moving forward and playing the stronger teams, you have to take care of business with the Texans. And so, and that's going to start with, Russell Wilson. I mean, looking back, I know there's a lot of, and let me ask you this question. There's a lot of chatter, last week at the end of that Broncos game, 4th and 5, do you put it in Russell's hands, or do you let the kicker come out and kick that field goal? It was a longer field goal, but what would you do? I mean, I know what I would do as a coach, but what would you do as a coach in that situation?
I think you need to instill confidence early in the season with your team and with your new quarterback, and I think you have to go for it. Especially in that moment and the type of game it was, playing back at Seattle, everything that was behind the game. I think that would have been a really good early confidence booster for the whole team if you would have went for it and got it. Because they ended up, not winning anyway. So
yeah,
I think I would have went for it on that situation.
Yeah, looking at the 2 drives, that drive and the drive prior, they just weren't getting the chunk yards for me that was, to say that they could get 5 yards. I probably kicked the field goals as well as a coach, thinking, I need 5 yards. I know Russell's good for it. Is everyone else good for it? We haven't been able to really throw it. He's been having to be mobile in the pocket. Yeah, I think that's a bigger risk as a coach. Of course, yeah, as a fan, I want to see Russell win the game, hands down, or at least get them a lot closer and make that field goal a lot easier. But yeah, probably as a coach, I'm kicking the ball. Just but there was that's when anyone that's been talking about that game has just been talking about the end and what woulda, coulda, shoulda. Right.
Well, the coach said, before the game, they had a certain yard marker that if they got to that yard marker, they were confident the kicker would make it because he was making them in pregame. And they got to that place. They had a plan. They stuck to their plan, and the guy just missed the kick. I mean,
yeah,
he had been obviously making them in pregame, or else they would have went for it. So.
Yeah. All right, so this is probably my game of the week because you have two teams that are 0-1 that have to come out and establish themselves. The Raiders, they pick up Devontae Adams to add to that receiving core with Hunter Renfrow, say his name right. But you also have the Cardinals, who just dumped a crap ton of Russell Wilson money on Kyler Murray, who hasn't proven himself yet. So, and that looked absolutely flat. That team looked absolutely flat against the Chiefs last week, and just didn't even show up. Looked like JV against varsity. And to be honest, when the Chiefs, that was my concern going in the Chiefs game or the Chiefs Chargers game. Could the Chiefs slow down? Because I honestly would have thought that defenses were comparable between Cardinals and Chargers, but the Chargers, I mean, they did what they needed to do to win that game, I think, and on defense. So, I'm still taking the Cardinals because I think this is a bigger game for them than it is to me. Obviously, I'm a homer, so but if we. Already Cliff Kingsbury after week 1, if we were still doing our coaching hot seat, I think this is the coach on the hot seat, because if he doesn't win, there's going to be a lot of talk already about is it the scheme, is it the quarterback play, is it the defense, what is it so far? So I have to brag my aces on varsity as a freshman, and so far they're 3-0. Congratulations with that, and it's So who do you have in this game, and why?
I'm taking the Cardinals because of the points. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think they can hold it within a touchdown. Although, Devontae Adams' first game with David Carr, regular season game, had the third most receiving yards last week in the league with 141. He also had 10 catches in his first game, was right up there in the top of the league. It was tied for second. But for all those reasons, I mean, yeah, you can't pay a guy that much money and not expect results out of Kyler Murray. Obviously they believe in him and the future of the Cardinals. So I do think he'll have a bounce back week. I think the team will have a bounce back week and play, like I said, good enough not to get beat by a touchdown. I don't know if they'll win the game, but I think they can keep it within a touchdown.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals win this one outright. I mean, obviously I'm taking the points, but I think the Cardinals win this one outright because I think it's more important to them. I mean, every game is important, but I think they have more to prove here. Maybe not. I mean, the Raiders, there's high expectations every year with the Raiders, and they do what they do. All right. Hey, 2 more games to go, and we are done. Here's the second biggest spread, or actually tied for second biggest spread of the week. Bears are going to the Packers. The Packers are favored by 10, and the Packers look like crap last week. They do not have a team in Green Bay right now. Aaron Rodgers, nicely calling out the offensive players and the receivers. Who do you got in this game?
I think that's just another revenge game. They got blasted by the Saints in Week 1 last year, although they did have Devontae Adams on the team. But I think at home rivalry game against the Bears. The Bears, I think, got away with one in the sloppy weather. They didn't look great either last week. They just did enough to win. So I'm gonna take the Packers. That is a big spread, but I just feel like at home and how poorly they played last week, this will also be kind of like they need to step up and show what they have type of game against a not very good team.
I'm going to take the team that slopped it out last week and actually enjoyed their win. That's a team that, a lot of young players. Just seeing them after the game going down and sliding in the mud and the rain, on the turf and stuff. That's a team that's pumped up right now. They got a win that probably a lot of people didn't think may have happened against a team that's still expected to compete at a much higher level. I think it's a team that I think they're gonna ride that victory, and it won't be a 10-point victory for the Packers, and I'm taking the Bears. And I'm with Kim on this one because Kim also took the Bears, and Kim and I are gonna win this one this week, at least on points. So great pick. So that's the game. That's the Sunday night game. Yeah, that's our second to last pick.
Yeah,
that should be the Sunday. That's on tonight.
We have 2 more games to pick.
Oh, I
Titans at the Bills and Vikings at the Eagles.
Oh, I forgot the Titans at the Bills to put on my thing. So let's go ahead and
Bills are up 10 points at home. Favorite.
Yeah, so Tennessee's going to Buffalo, and giving up 10 points to the Bills. I'm taking the Bills on this one. I'm just not a Tannehill fan, and the Bills are on fire. There's no way I'm betting against the Bills. If this was 20 points, I'd probably almost take the Bills. And I'm easily taking the Bills on this one.
Yeah, me too. Bills all the way after what they did at LA. Now they get their first home game against the Titans. Bills all the way. Yeah,
that's the tonight game, and not the Bears Packers. So, all right. So last game, so Monday night game. This one was actually. I had to actually go back and look at last week's Vikings game before I picked this one to see what the score was and to actually look at some of the stats because I really wanted to take the Eagles here. I still really want to take the Eagles here. I just think that the Vikings have too much offense, and so I'm taking the Vikings because it's 2.5. It's not even a field goal. Maybe I could think that the Eagles could hold a field goal, but no, I'm taking the Vikings here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings too. The Vikings are kind of a sleeper team for me this year that I think maybe weren't projected to do a whole lot this year, but I think they're maybe a sneaky team that can make a run in the NFC this year just because they do have all that offense. I mean, Justin Jefferson is just continuing to add on to his record-breaking first early seasons of his career. He led the NFL last week in Week 1 with receiving yards with 184. He had 2 touchdown catches. They still have Thielen. They have Cook. They have good defense. One of their linebackers, Hicks, was 3rd in the league in Week 1 with tackles with 14. Harrison Smith at safety had some big plays like he always does. Maybe one of the smartest, best safeties in the league. I would suspect that they're going to give Hurts a little bit of a run for his money with some things that they do on the defensive side too. So I have the Vikings. I think the Eagles are getting better. I mean, they had AJ Brown, his first game, second in the league last week with 150 yards receiving. He had 10 catches in his first game with Hurts. So he had a big day, but I just haven't quite seen enough from the Eagles yet that I'll take the Vikings to win by a field goal.
And there we go. So we actually had originally I said we had 7 games that we differed, but because of the Texans Broncos changed, that's 6 games that we have differed this week. So there's a big chance for one of us to take a commanding lead, but commanding leads don't really always pan out because I think I had like an 11 or 13 game lead on you last season, and you caught right up to me, and I only won by a game, after the Super Bowl. So, so early leads, don't always last. But hey, if you watch the show and replay this week, be sure to put in who you think's going to win your favorite game or what your game of the week is. Also, if you let me put up another one of our new graphics here. Don't forget to join us every Sunday, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. You can watch us on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Be a part of the show. We love to have all of you as in the conversation. We love to hear what you think, because we're just a couple of average guys that no more than maybe some other average guys once in a while. So anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. Hey, any last thoughts, Dave? Anything else? And what's your game of the week before we head out?
Oh, my game of the week's the rivalry game, of course. Seahawks at San Francisco. We got to celebrate down here. We're making some good food at the home today. We, got some higher end dishes today for our indoor tailgating. Maybe a little lobster tail here, maybe a little, this and that. So we're ready to have a good afternoon in the Webb household.
That's awesome. We'll enjoy that. We don't, but now I'm going to have to, after church, go to the store and get some good grub for maybe the evening game. So we'll enjoy that game. My game of the week is still the Raiders and Cardinals. And thank you to that's an awesome. I love the logo. I love, when you get into some of these smaller breweries, these craft brewers, just the art, the creativity that goes into the artwork, and the design. But that looks awesome. And, nothing like mine. But anyway, Joy, I look forward. I've been at the store and I'm like looking at next month's brews. Like I want to buy them now. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, just hold off till October, Chuck. And, so I can make that theme. So, hey, everyone, have a fantastic week. Enjoy your football, 23 minutes to kick off. So have a fantastic day. Enjoy it. We'll all see you back here next week at 9 a.m. And, enjoy. So, peace. However I want to end. Have a great week, everyone. Bye now.